Ja Morant, Ja Morant, Ja Morant. Welcome back, Ja Morant. Ja Morant will be joining my Grizzlies today against the Mavericks. Before we get started, my last episode, I discussed the Chris Rock special, comedy versus cancel culture. I think you'll learn a lot over there. Be sure to check that out. I put that in the video tag or whatever the case may be. This Ja Morant story, I'm a big Grizzly fan. If you do not know, Memphis Grizzlies fan, I shouldn't say big. I just started rooting for NBA teams 2 years ago, and I chose the Memphis Grizzlies. I wanted to wait until this was all done. I'm starting to learn that now because of the internet, because of social media, information gets construed, information gets thrown all over the place. It's a game of telephone. You don't really know what the truth is. A lot of our ESPN debate shows, most of our news is all speculation for entertainment, for clicks, for views, to leave people, at a cliff or a cliffhanger, whatever the case may be, right? So I just learned to just fall back, right? This whole Ja Morant situation is a key example of media manipulation, right? It's a key example why I do not watch the news. It's a key example why I no longer watch debate shows or any of that stuff, because it's pure entertainment. Our news, I look at the news and anything that comes on television like WWE now, right? You take it with a grain of salt. Yeah, don't get it twisted. I know there's some news in your local areas that it's facts, right? I'm not even on that level. It's not even about facts or lies. It's about presentation, right? It's about how they give it to you. That bothers me. But on a grand scheme, on worldly news, on worldly shows, I feel like it's WWE. It's for pure entertainment, right? Maybe 1% will be a factual episode. But it's a key example of media manipulation. And I'll give you my example why, right? We know the story for the most part. There was a story came out. He was flashing a gun at a basketball game, at a pickup game. They tried to say that he may have taken it on the plane. That investigation got thrown out. And then he was stupid enough to go online on Instagram and flash a gun. So before I even go into this, as a Grizzlies fan, that is stupid. Not trying to make an excuse for it. Not trying to say that was manipulated. That's dumb. But he's also 23, 24, and he also has millions and millions of dollars. What does that mean? For some people, everyone will say that if I had that situation, you wouldn't. You would make probably the same mistakes or worse. It is what it is, right? We put these athletes up here and we forget that they're young human beings who just got introduced to a lot of money. Probably didn't come from money. I don't know his background. I thought it was funny. They was calling him Ja Wick. I thought that was the best one. And then when they started doing the 8 Mile, showing his background, I thought that was funny. I'm a real person at the end of the day. So even as a fan, I thought those memes were fantastic. Ja Wick was hilarious. But the media manipulation goes like this. I felt like the Grizzlies were kind of already, first of all, they were talking too much. We haven't won anything. We haven't put the Warriors out. We're not rivals. I hate when they only ask Warrior players, do y'all consider it a rivalry? As if we're sitting here screaming we're a rival. We're not rivals with the Warriors until we're putting each other out in Western Conference Finals or stuff like that, like where the stakes are higher. And we got to win a championship. You can't be rivals with 4-time champs and you're a 1-time champ. A 0-time champ, right? So we're not rivals or anything, but I felt like they were doing too much talking. They got too full of themselves. It's a young team. That's what they gave us credit for, and that's what some of this distractions and downfall was to. It's a young team, right? So I feel like they were already, if you see the memes and stuff, Dylan Brooks is getting hated for stuff he's saying. Ja is cocky. I know certain demographic of people don't even like the way Ja played before this incident because it was too, I'm going to use the word hood. At the end of the day, people who look at Ja, that's like dudes we grew up with. That's dudes you hoop with. It's normal. But for other people, they want you to wear a suit and tie on the court as well. They want everyone to just be uptight, studious athlete. And he's not. So they were hating for that and all the talking, and then they were losing. Then the Shannon Sharp stuff happened. So then next, people love Shannon Sharp. So it was already a downward slope as far as the support for the Memphis Grizzlies. Ja gets out there. That story happens. Next thing you know, this story happens. Something from high school happened. And that's where the media, I cannot say this shit, media manipulation, that's where it starts, right? They start pulling up old stories. Stories start leaking. And then they start framing things a certain way. Mr. Skip Bayless, is he a Crip? Do you have to be initiated? What's that? What is that? He's like, Ja's been playing for 2 or 3 years now. You never mentioned that. You never had a question if he was gangbanging or not. And even so, right? Let's say if he's a full-fledged gangbanger, what does that have to do with anything on the court? And what does that have to do with that case of the gun? You know, non-gang members are gun owners, right? You do know that, right? People, I just want people out there too who also maybe didn't know. Not only gang members shoot guns, just like not only rappers and hood dudes smoke weed. Everyone smokes weed. Everyone owns guns and shoots them. So I don't really know where that came from, but that's manipulating. Now you're framing something, even if it's not true, even if it never comes up again. Whoever was watching that day now is like, oh yeah, he throws that up, and now they go, and you know what I'm saying? And it was just in the story that he might be facing up to 15 years if this case in Colorado, if they find out, it's like, why not just wait to see if that's the case? Because it's entertainment. You need to have people come back to see if y'all figured it out. Or you need to have people watch the entire show to see if it's breaking news that he's going to jail. It's like, it was so interesting. And when this was my first time, because I've been doing a lot of mental things to kind of put myself in a different position. This was my first time where I like sat out on something that on a news story that was mainstream, right? I didn't go try to make a video real quick to get the clicks and views. I didn't want to throw a podcast up and we'll see what happens, because that's what most podcasts do. I was like, I'm just going to sit back. People were talking to me like, hey, you heard what happened to Ja? I have not. Dang, you see what they talking about? No, I haven't. But that's what they want. They want people constantly having that conversation and talking about it. And when it comes back that everything's clear, he went to counseling, he took accountability, he apologized, he served his time, 8 games total, I believe, and he's back with the team. That's how it looked to me. You see what I'm saying? Everybody else was, jail, no jail. Oh, gun, no gun. Jump, no jump. Gang, no gang. And I'm just like, served his time, apologized. Those cases were all false. Nobody proved this other stuff. He's back hooping now. That's really what happened. That's why I'm able to do a podcast and talk about it in 15 minutes, because only 15 minutes worth of content happened with the situation. I would send a challenge to you, to those people out there, to be aware. You don't have to stop watching TV. You don't have to, or maybe you like the entertainment. Maybe you like how it makes you feel following the news. But I would just say, at least be aware. And at least put it in your mind that, okay, the news, right? The people that are on TV with suits and ties, the journalists that are doing the research, most of it is for entertainment, right? And the crazy part to me is, I don't know when that transition happened, but I promise you, I do not need entertainment for the news. I promise you, I would probably watch more and watch longer and be more engaged if the news was literally just giving us facts and literally just giving us information that only those journalists can get because we're on the outside. I would watch that and like take something from it. Like, wow, okay. I don't know where it became rating. Like, I feel like the news should be like the only thing where the ratings don't affect. Like, it's like a season. Like, oh, you got low ratings. We got to cancel the news. What? Oh, the ratings are high. Like, we need to cover better stories, or we're just gonna. Because I know that's the conversation. Oh, our ratings are down. We need hard hitting stuff. It's just like, that makes sense from a business standpoint. Don't get it twisted. I understand it, but understand that that's the business. It's not to be taken literally. It's not for you to make actionable moves based off what they said. If anything, just take it with a grain of salt. This is what I do. I'll hear something on ESPN, or I hear something on NBC. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then go Google it, or go try to get your own information. Like, you want to make a habit these days, especially. You want to make a habit and not relying on what you're hearing and seeing on television, not relying on what you're hearing and seeing on social media. Even though sometimes social media, especially on Reddit, you can find the truth before it gets wiped off and smeared and everything else. But try to use a combination of all things. Okay, I take a little bit from what I heard off the news or off the radio. I take a little bit from what they're reporting on, the social medias, TMZ, Shade Room. And then I'll take a little bit from what I actually Google. And then I'll take a little bit if I'm hanging out with people, and you might run into somebody who really follows this stuff and know more. Or there's a book, there's an article, there's a published article about it. And then that's how you should be trying to get the truth or some solid information, which is why I call myself a content creator and not a podcaster. This is the second part of this. The job stuff, that's it. That's all that needs to be talked about to me personally. But to the podcasting, I think what's going to make my podcast stand out and better is I'm not giving you podcasts weekly, right? I'm not giving you podcasts on a schedule. I understand once you get into a demand, maybe, or if you really, truly, there are people out there who really like to follow stories and really like to investigate. Sure, you have a lot of information to provide, but for most of us, most people are just trying to talk about what's being talked about so they could be in the algorithms and be or whatever and get the clicks and views. I'm here to tell you that might do something for you in the short term as far as numbers or whatever, but think about what you're really setting yourself up to do as far as a career. Again, if that's what you want to do, this isn't for you. Keep doing what you're doing. But if you're one of those people that don't like me, I don't really care about half the shit that goes on. I should say more than half the shit that goes on out here, because most of it is bullshit. It's smoke and mirrors. It's a lie to get you to another lie, to forget about that lie that was told, into anything to stay away from the truth. That's what is given to us, right? So half the time I'm scrolling and just trying to see something interesting, and it's either too political to where I don't even touch political stuff because I think that's all bullshit for the most part. Or the other half is music, pop culture that I don't care about. So I call myself a content creator instead of a podcaster, because I'll do a podcast when there's actually something I want to discuss. Other than that, I'll make shorts, reels, how-to videos, and other things to keep the channel going. But I've slowly found out that I'm not a scheduled once a week, once every 2 weeks podcaster. If you go back, you'll see I was doing 3 a week at one time, like for hours. And then I moved it around. But I feel like more people should be like that. We should put out content based on the want to and not the demand, right? And I feel like, because someone will argue and say, well, in the business, you got to meet the demand. Yeah, I understand that. But I feel like people will come wherever you're going to, down or up to wherever you're going to give it to them, right? Case point, that's the reason why Jordans can resell for $400 or $500. That's the reason why Supreme can sell out every Thursday with hoodies for $250, right? Do you think when they were having their business meeting, they're like, nah, man, $250, we never going to sell? Maybe. Or now everybody's buying it, right? So yeah, somebody might look at this thing and go, oh man, well, you're not on a schedule. You're not consistent podcast. You're never going to blow. Or the ones that I do put out would do better and do more than 3 a week or whatever schedule, just to say I'm doing a podcast. I think a lot of people are doing a podcast just to say they're doing it. I think a lot of people, you can have hundreds of episodes, but like, what is it? What is the audience taking from what you're saying? Regurgitated information from online, regurgitated information from ESPN. You're just reading articles. You're just reading books. Like, you're not giving me any type of information I couldn't get from a more professional, more seasoned person, a person with more insight, a person with actual inside access. You're just on the outside, just reading headlines and throwing it out, which is great. But I'm telling you, how does that go 10, 15, 20 years from now? That's just who we going to go to you for? That's who you want to be? The person that regurgitates information? That's our motto. That's our game plan for our podcast. Oh yeah. Here, what makes us different than any other show? We regurgitate the information that, like, we have no inside, nothing. We bring nothing. We bring our opinion, and that's it, which is, again, that could be great. I'm just putting it out there for myself, because I think my last podcast was like 12 days ago, and I have people I'm experiencing the new bullying online now. I have random people that just come to my comments, or I think I was commenting on somebody else's page. And I'll end the show with this. I was commenting on Gary Vee's page, and he was mentioning something about Facebook, and I was like, yeah, I'm glad you posted it. Obviously, he's not gonna see it, but I'm just showing my appreciation because that's what I would want. I was like, yo, Facebook is great. My videos does great. Their editing process is one of the best to me, right? That's what I said. Some random guy comes into Gary Vee's page, into my comment, and go, oh man, how much you're paying you? And I'm like, no one's paying me. This is my opinion. Blah, blah, blah. You know, TikTok is you're saying Facebook is better than TikTok. TikTok's far more superior. I was like, I never said that. It's my personal opinion. And then he goes, well, you only have 80 some followers on Facebook and this many followers on TikTok. So I think basically he was getting at, like, because my numbers aren't the highest right now, that I don't know what I'm talking about. And I thought that was interesting. He's not the first person to do that. I've had people, because I have thick skin, so like they can't get me with the regular stuff or the racist stuff or any of that. So then it's like, don't get big headed because you got 100 views. And I'm just like, wow, that's interesting, because I don't even live for that. I understand. If TikTok show me a few things, actually, I take that back. TikTok shows a lot. If you use it correctly, TikTok is a very useful app. But I've noticed that I've seen people with 4 million followers, with 100 million likes, whatever, and they have no direction on what they're doing. And then I know people personally who work in the industry, who works with successful people, who does real big things, and they have not really a following because they have the business in real life. And so my point to them is, I'm putting out this content and this work, basically training myself. Editing, speaking, vocal projection, composition, how to run my social. This is all just building me up. This is, if I get followers and all that, that is great. But like, I have goals. Yes, I want 1 million followers on TikTok. I want 1 million. I want 1 million everywhere, because I know what that brings, right? I know that with that platform and with that cachet, that can get you, you can have opportunities with that. I definitely understand that. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm not building what I'm doing for those numbers, because I know that without an actual foundation, they're just numbers. To me personally, you just have a big following. So you want to wait till you get the big following. You want to get the big following first. You want to go viral immediately and then try to figure out how to keep them and how to entertain them. Or do you build slowly, figuring out how to entertain them, where to post and all that, and then they grow with you? And then you go viral, maybe 2 year, 3, but you already know exactly what to do. That's where I'm at right now. I know exactly what to do. Not literally, obviously it's a moving thing. Exactly what to do, meaning like if you sat me down last year, it was just, let's just make content, right? Let's just put something out. Now this year is all strategic. It's all on purpose. It's all purposeful things that I'm doing. And I'm learning more. I'd rather be in this position and then go viral this year than to be having 1 million last year and don't even know if I want to do a podcast or not. See what I'm saying? So just be careful, be mindful when you're trying to compare yourself to other pages, because I see people with more followers and more likes and all that than me, but their branding and their content and the way they run their pages is amateur at best. It's the same stuff. I'm not threatened by that. I went to that guy's page. I'm like, there's nothing here that makes me go, you got a point? Like, oh man. Because to be honest, I'm smart. If you got a way better page, I would look and be like, okay, you got more followers, I can see, but there's nothing there. You just accumulated numbers. You've maybe done some trendy things or some viral things, but just be mindful of that in this thing. Like, do you want the quick success or do you want long-term success? Right? Just be mindful of that. Anyway, Ja Morant comes back. I'm excited. Grizzlies was doing good without him. Y'all forgot about the depth, but it's cool. I just hope they shut up and just focus more, because even as a fan, I felt like they were talking too much. We ain't won nothing. We blew the series against the Warriors, and we ain't even hit a finals yet. Let me at least see y'all playing in June, man, before we talking. Right now, just get back to it, get back to work. Hopefully this Ja situation. We lost Adams for a minute. We lost Clark for the year. I think Tripp is dealing with some injuries. It's time to just focus. Get right. Had a little bump, but it happened right before that stretch before the playoffs start. I think this is a good thing. We will see. Thank you for listening to another episode. If you want to hear all the full audio episodes, whogottheaux.com, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Who Got the Aux, one word, Twitter, Who Got the Aux _ Feel free to subscribe, follow. First, before I even say that, thank you to everybody who have subscribed, followed, comment, shared, all that. I appreciate that on Facebook, everywhere. Appreciate that. Feel free to join. You're a daily content creator. That's my new tagline. Feel free. Do what you want. Appreciate that, and I'll see y'all at the next episode. I'm out.